It's not desert season without a campfire or Chupacabra Offroad. Now, here's your host, Nick Olson.
What's happening, everybody? It's Nick Olson and Wes Leffler coming back at you. It's Chupacabra Offroad. Our little podcast here is called Around the Campfire. That's right. We're talking about desert life, off-roading, side-by-side game, just like we're hanging out with you guys, hanging around a campfire, talking shop, having a good time. What's up, Wes?
How's it going? Good to be back for another episode of this.
Good, man. I'm glad I got a hold of you to knock this one down. We did part one, and I was excited to do part two here, but I didn't get a lot of stuff coming up. Tell everybody in the audience what your off-road world is heading towards here in the next few weeks.
Well, I pulled my calendar out, but it's too heavy, things I got marked in it. So, it's going to get busy here. I got San Felipe 250 coming up next week. Actually, before that, I got a filming opportunity that will be coming out. We're doing some filming on Monday, getting down to San Felipe next Thursday, come back from there, spend a couple days at the job to pay the bills, and then head to Coral Pink Sand Dunes for about 5 days playing in the sand. Most people don't know of Coral Pink, but I've been going there for 20 plus years. It's one of my favorite places to go riding. It's a little different if you haven't been there. Shortly thereafter, getting back from there and knocking out another race in the side-by-side in the Silver State 300. And shortly after there, looks like Chupacabra will be taking a trip and doing some more content, some more riding in a undisclosed location. And then I think I got a couple of weeks off, and then I think I got to spend some time with the wife and go do some off-road, non-racing, none of that for a week or so to make sure that everything stays normal and steady.
Living the dream, bro. Living the dream. I love it.
And it just seems like I can't say no to anything, but it is what it is, man. We love it. And, it's a family thing for most of all those things I mentioned. And, getting to take the wife with me when we go racing down in Mexico is fun. Helping out trophy truck team is also, it's amazing, and getting that opportunity. And then, the racing thing, like I mentioned before, is, total family thing. We take the kids with us and they help out. And so, it is still quality time. I think it's better than sitting at home and letting them play, on the computer or watching TV or playing video games, get them out and actually get them to breathe a little bit of the fresh air.
All right, so, you pay attention to who's going to win. I want you to just make a prediction. Not who's going to win San Felipe, but has 250, 500, or 1,000. I don't know if a four-wheel drive trophy has won the overall yet. Maybe that's happened or not. I think the 400.
Andy, no, he was still in his two-wheel drive 2 years ago, San Felipe. Last year, Luke in a two-wheel drive won the 1,000. And no, I don't think so.
So will a four-wheel drive win San Felipe?
I have some inside information as to the course. Mm-hmm. I'm saying it here and now. A four-wheel drive will win the San Felipe 250.
There we go. I think that's like the ultimate, right? Everyone talks about these four-wheel drives. Are they tough enough for Bob?
Well, let me cycle. A four-wheel drive will win the San Felipe 250. However, there are still some fast two-wheel drive guys, but this will be the last race for the only guy that I think can win in a two-wheel drive. This will be his last race in a two-wheel drive, and that's Luke McMillan. He's jumping over. So for the inside information I have of the course, I think this is the best opportunity that a four-wheel drive has had. Yes.
All right. Well,
you heard it here first. So when we get back on this next time, whatever. I'll get a free
popping champagne, or are we making fun of you for being wrong yet again? So
exactly.
So this is part two in continuation of the first pod we did last week, which got an amazing response. I think we got almost 100 views on YouTube.
What? Dude, we need to go out to dinner.
Either way, the pod was way better than the views we got. But anywho, that's neither here nor there. We were talking about social media. We were talking about race sponsorship, and that was most of part one. We kind of gave away some tips talking about what we've learned doing social, building a brand, what we would suggest if you're a racer or you're somebody in the space who's trying to make a name for themselves, get sponsored in the terms of helping, fund your race program, being a daredevil jumper, those type of things. So that was a fun one. I really enjoyed that one. And then for the part two, we wanted to talk about more about social, but what we've learned and how we've built a brand from scratch. And, maybe some other tips and things we'll learn for maybe other brands in the industry, or maybe just some good takeaways if you are a racer, just like more from the brand perspective and how hard it is to build a brand. And we're basically about 3 years deep into consistent content creation. And we'll just kind of share what we've learned and what we think, and kind of talk about YouTube culture and the TikTok pending takeover and everything in between.
Yeah, exactly. I think things are changing fast. But I think that Chupacabra as a whole will be ready for all those changes, and it's exciting. The future's exciting.
Yeah. So we'll go back. I got a fun little story for you to start off. Could take you back to memory lane. So Wes and I met mountain biking way back in the day in the mid '90s. And Wes, I know you remember some classic mountain bike videos back then were Fox Racing's chain smoke videos.
Iconic. I think I played the VHS. Yes, it was on VHS, not even DVD. Probably 100 times. I wouldn't be surprised if I don't have a copy of it in my garage right now in my trophy box that I just can't get rid of.
So, we're all into mountain biking. Fox is just really making a lot of content at the time. Fox already had, industry leading products, I'd say, or brand awareness. Everyone, at that age, we got into dirt bike riding, mountain bike riding. Fox was just the cool brand and the type of gloves you wanted to have, etc. And then, either way, they come out with Chain Smoke 2, I want to say, late 90s, early 2000. And the video starts off with Brian Lopes, who's just this amazing mountain bike rider. But either way, his bike is strapped to the back of Larry Ragland's trophy truck. And I watched it again fairly recently. I'm pretty sure, knowing what I know now, it wasn't Parker. And he goes, "Larry, I thought you said this thing was fast. Pin it." Remember that bit?
Yeah, it's amazing. No, that definitely makes me feel old. But yeah, it's crazy to see that even back then, in mountain biking, which was, definitely part of an off-road sport, but to see that come into a mountain bike video, a trophy truck come into a mountain bike video at that time was amazing. And I think that back then, I don't know if I speak for Nick, but man, we were mesmerized by off-road vehicles even before we started mountain biking. The reason why we mountain biked was because it was something that we could afford, barely.
Yeah. And then growing up in Las Vegas, I mean, like off-road culture, I mean, off-road racing has kind of almost been centered in Las Vegas. Maybe not so much the companies, but overall the amount of events, from the Mint to Prim to, all these other things. And then also the amount of people who race who are from Las Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was always part of our culture, and it's definitely, something we always paid attention to for sure, was the off-road racing.
So, that video comes out, right? It's just this amazing video, and it was everything we loved about life, right? We like mountain bikes and we like trophy trucks. Oh my gosh, So fast forward to 2005, I actually get a job working for Fox. So I pack my stuff up by myself, U-Haul, move up to Northern California. And a few months after I join, I'm lucky enough to sit down. I'm eating lunch with Greg Fox, who's one of the Fox brothers. And I had done my homework and saw in that video that Greg Fox was the executive producer of Chainsmoke. So I'm like, Greg, you got to tell me, like, why did you guys do the trophy? And I was so fired up. He's probably looking at me like, does this guy just like want to get a Fox tattoo on his forehead? But I was so pumped on telling him that experience of like how big that video was to us. And fast forward till, a couple of months ago, Haley, our full-time employee here who does content creation, I was explaining some of these classic videos she hadn't seen and making her watch that trophy truck scene, and I kind of had an epiphany. I was like, wow, like we've been creating content, but I'm trying to do the same thing with Chup that Fox did for all those years, where they made products, but they made a ton of content from the Terra Firma videos. And I don't know if I love Fox more from the content or if I loved them more for the products, or it was just like this amazing 1-2 punch that caused me to kind of always be in love with that company.
Yeah. Looking back at all the videos, it's weird. It's, it's something that we'd watch and we'd love watching them and watch them over and over and over again. But I'm with you, man. Like the logo itself is iconic, but when you look back at the videos and stuff that they're making back then, it was amazing. Like, throwing a trophy truck in a mountain bike video with one of the fastest mountain bikers that we knew, that we'd go and watch them practice. We'd climb a hill just to watch those guys come by on their bikes for like 2 seconds. And we do that all day long just to be like, whoa, did you see that line or this line? And then they jump in an off-road vehicle and we're like, this guy's cooler than he's ever been, and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But with the brand, I'm with you. Like, I was a Fox guy, you know, it was always Fox. Everything had to be Fox, you know, Fox, 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 you know, and I still think there's people like that out there today. And obviously the brand's iconic and it's developed, but yeah, it's weird to look back at the videos and kind of actually take them in perspective now, especially doing videos with Chupacabra and watching other people's content to see what they were doing back then.
Yeah, you know, they really laid the groundwork, particularly around that timeline with Krusty Demons taking off, you know, the Glamis scene really getting some notoriety or awareness of even what it was. I mean, you're talking like CKY, like all these videos that were just viral. If you could call VHS sales viral, I don't think that word even existed for content back then. But, you know, fast forward to me working at Fox in 2005, not only do I get to join this amazing company, which is a lifelong dream, but Fox sponsors at the time, you know, Michael Jordan and Kobe. I mean, you got Ricky and James just laying it down, having some of the best battles in motocross, supercross history. And that's something that Fox always was able to do a tremendous job at, from the 80s, having RJ, Rick Johnson, even to today, Ken Roxon, I would consider like probably one of the best marketable supercross guys out there, you know. And that's just interesting because, you know, it's gone from where they would hire the athlete, and that would help kind of control the brand image, right? Have them in the ads, and that's kind of what they would do to build their image. And now we're at such a different point in time where any brand wants to hire an influencer or an athlete, you know, still the consumer has their own opinion of the brand, and they post and they interact with brands on their own terms. So I think it's harder to, as you try to launch a brand, you know, obviously influencers are valuable and the right people are always still valuable, I think, but it's different because of social.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely a different ballgame. It kind of makes you wonder, like, what it would be like if we had the social and the YouTube and everything that we have now. If we had that back in, you know, 2005, you know, when Ricky and Bubba and James, they were out, you know, they're out there doing their thing. Imagine what it would be like. Would it be different? Would it be the same? Would it be better? So, I mean, yeah, launching a brand nowadays, as you well know, is, you know, there's risks and things like that, because you got to kind of think, you got to keep thinking 3-4 steps ahead of what content needs to be, you know, provided to the people you're trying to provide it to.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you know, fast forward from the moto scene, which, you know, also kind of burst the whole free ride movement, which is a totally different, exciting vibe in addition to racing. And I think almost added that much more excitement to the two-wheel world. Moved up to 2013, I leave Fox, I joined Polaris, you know, 2 weeks before the XP4 1000 gets released. And the 1000, right, is a complete game changer in the space. Not that the 900 wasn't already killing it. And a lot of you out there listening had 800s and absolutely loved them. But, you know, right around that time, a year or two before, you know, Polaris starts getting into Glamis, doing camp razors. And I think from 2013 till last year, I went to like 7 camp razors in a row, which was cool. And just being a fan of Glamis, I'd been a couple times when I was younger. And then now as an employee, watching like how Polaris conducted events, you know, and doing concerts and things that the Glamis community maybe hadn't seen ever, or maybe since some back in those days, like how iconic Glamis was to content, in freestyle motocross, from Krusty, from Seth Enslow, you know, all that type of thing, and building a brand. I was able to like really be on the ground floor and learn a lot of interesting lessons and kind of try to see like where the UTVs were going and how do you kind of create that message, as I decided to jump ship from Polaris and start Chupacabra, and obviously knew that, you know, the value long before I ever worked for Polaris on the side by side, that Glamis is such a big deal. It's so relatable to a lot of people and is really a pillar of what we use to create content.
Absolutely. I think Glamis is a catch-all, because, you know, we have diehard sandrail guys, we have diehard side-by-side guys, and we all go to Glamis. And even the sandrail guys, they all go to Supercross, they all watch Offroad, they all do. It's just a big, huge place where everybody can go. And I mean, it's invaluable the amount of information you're able to obtain by being at Polaris and going to just Camp Razor and Glamis. I mean, I'm not saying the event's as great as it used to be, but I mean, those first few 4 or 5 Camp Razors were amazing. I mean, the things that they do, I mean, you could pull your broken car up to a shop and they're going to fix it. I mean, they went all out. Polaris knew what they were doing. They went all out, and it obviously had to show in the numbers or they wouldn't have kept doing it. But yeah, I mean, now seeing big brand like Polaris or other brands doing these things like at Glamis and going all out and focusing just on that one area for a weekend or 5 days or whatever, as a brand owner like yourself, you got to kind of like take that in and seeing, okay, where are the good, where are the bad? And it's kind of cool to learn from other people's mistakes, I guess, or learn from their, their successes also. I mean, we all got to give credit where credit's due. I mean, Yamaha built the Rhino and people were building like $15,000, $20,000 Rhinos, and then they had all those rollovers and they took the big hit from all the lawsuits and everything and kind of greased the wheel for Polaris and Can-Am to get right in there and make sure they didn't make the same mistakes.
Yeah, through all of that, the marketplace proved this is what we want. We want something that's easy as a side-by-side to drive. Anybody can jump in with a, automatic and go. We just wanted more power and wanted more suspension. And, maybe combined with, motocross becoming more dangerous, the younger generation being more risk adverse, being afraid to, be rough and rugged as us or OG dirt bike and motocross guys. People like us getting older, fall in love, having families, have 4 seats, the ultimate family wagon. And all those things create a perfect storm for the side-by-side to completely explode as we see today in these last few years.
With age comes a cage. But it's not really that anymore. I mean, it just seems like as everybody knows, the side-by-side industry just is exploding. I'm not saying that it's taking over, but it pretty much has. I mean, for instance, we talk about Glamis a lot, but if you've been to Glamis in the last 3 years, you'd have to, if you counted the amount of side-by-sides compared to other vehicles and put all the other vehicles, whether it's sand cars, trucks, whatever, motorcycles, quads, all of them together, there's still more side-by-sides because you can go to the dunes. Then the next day you can put your knobbies on and go to the mountains. And, I think you're right. I think that's just where the market went. I think people want something that's the best bang for their buck. And the side-by-side is, as you've listened to, other videos that we've done, side-by-side is the best bang for your buck.
Yep. So all that, as you lead, kind of like a good setup to, how we thought about building a brand. So I think the brand Chupacabra started, first off, well, there's a lot of ideas. First, I was going to do an app and just create this community and get everybody to help share their opinions on products. There were so many products, even still today, launched every day. It's hard to keep up on them. And then we were going to get this community that was going to magically work together and then somehow drive traffic and somehow I was going to make money to make a living at it. So that idea didn't last very long. Luckily, my wife was smarter than me and she talked me out of it. But we started launching some products and I started off with a mirror. And the basic premise was at that moment in time, a lot of the accessories were pretty overpriced and there was a grumbling in the marketplace for more options that weren't excessively priced because there was this first mover advantages for the OEM accessories like Polaris, Can-Am. And you guys still see it today, their accessories are still kind of regarded as being pricey. And it's not so much that people don't want to spend $900 on doors or even $1,200 on doors. It's just if they're going to spend that kind of money on doors, they'd rather they'd spend them on a high quality full aluminum custom made door like on your Cognito doors or my Madigan doors, those type of things. So it's not so much about the money, it's about the value. And the value is just a word that I at that time was just really trying to obsess over. I'm listening to a ton of podcasts and I become a big fan of Gary Vaynerchuk. If you guys haven't heard of him, he's just a real marketing genius, guru, whatever you want to call him. You can check him out at Gary V. But he is, I think, a guy who's been historically correct. He predicted a lot of major events from, Facebook buying Instagram to a lot of things that have really popped off in terms of trends in popular culture, from technology and blockchain all the way down to, just being able to buy and flip things. So either way, he really is a big believer in how much we need to put ourselves out there, put our brand out there content-wise to build brand awareness because, we launch a product, we start selling mirrors, which I think are a good value. And, how are we going to sell them if nobody knows we even exist? So to me, that was just like an ethos I had built in was I was going to launch our business in around 2017, 2018, like it was that year. Like we were going to go head in on social and head in on content creation as a 1-2 punch. And it worked out well because at the time it's not like we had a whole lot of money to launch a bunch of products. Right. So while we're getting that going, we're like, well, let's create some content. Let's, get it going. So that was kind of the beginning of the Chupacabra brand.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head when it was, at that time, the manufacturers had the aftermarket parts on lock. I mean, you see Polaris swoop up and buy a couple companies and make them their own. And not that they didn't look bad or anything like that, but other people within the market, other cage builders, other wheel builders, everybody started seeing this as like, holy cow, this is about to explode. And, you know, fast forward 3 years, it has exploded. I mean, I can't count on both my hands the amount of cage builders alone that I know that run a business just selling cages. It's crazy, you know, and that's just cages. The cool thing about Chupacabra though is that we started small. We started small with mirrors, but we made sure that they were affordable and that they had great customer service and that they were reliable. And those three things are a key to success, because then it, you know, frees it up and, you know, frees you up to do content. And, you know, the more products you can sell, the more cooler things you can do in creating better products.
Yeah, so you know, we about 3 years ago, almost exactly, we get really serious about content, and right now we're almost at 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is something I'm really proud of. You know, we have a good following on TikTok, Instagram, we're over 40,000, and that's pretty good. You know, I think
Yeah.
there's definitely companies and or brands or YouTube channels that have grown quicker, and there's brands that have not grown as quick. So, you know, I think the thing is we've just been in the trenches every day grinding to create that content. I think, you know, we got over 2,400 posts on Instagram since we started.
Yeah.
You know, and we've learned a lot of things. And there's also too, you know, I mentioned all these numbers. These numbers sound cool, but we don't live and die off the numbers.
No,
We
not.
are trying to create content that is authentic to us. And, you know, you guys see it. There's a lot of things people do, the post, whether it's, you know, the wife with the yoga pants on the thumbnail, you know, join lonelyoffroaders.com or, you know, like all these other things, these thirst traps, or just like reposting crash videos on Instagram to grow
Yeah.
following. But, you know, we try to have a balance of reaching out to a new audience, mainly of a newbie guy. We're talking on YouTube,
Right.
maybe someone who's new to the market or going to be new to the market. So I'm not saying we're trying to be super hardcore and not grow, but, you know, I think it's really hard to put content out there and be authentic to your brand when you start putting a lot of this work in, because it takes a tremendous amount of effort. And when you put out that lot of effort, you're hoping to get views, you know, likes, impressions, subscribers.
Yeah, as humans, we're like always impatient, you know, and we expect, oh man, we just launched this coolest, glamorous video ever, which we believe it is, and it was really good because we know the hard work went into it. But then we're just like, man, why we should have 40 million views, or you know, should. But at the same time, those people that have watched it, I'm sure that they, you know, have respected just that video. But you know, the other videos, the how-to videos, the suspension videos, all those different videos. I mean, how many times are you on a forum or on your Facebook page and you're on the, you know, Arizona side by side and somebody's like, what does this code mean? Or how do you change a belt? Or what do I need to do to this? And da 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 da. Those content videos I think are amazing. And I think those get a ton of comments and tons of questions because people don't know how. I know in 2016 when I said, okay, I'm going to go spend a lot of money on a side by side, I didn't know anything. I was afraid to change the fluids. Now I wouldn't be afraid to pull the motor out of my car or transmission out of my car, or, you know, clutching is like, you know, people don't want to touch it. Like,
couple times.
Yeah, because I had to a couple of times. Exactly. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, and that's what's cool about the content that we're creating. You know, we got the social, we got the Instagram and stuff like that, but then you got the YouTube videos. Those little videos, they're amazing. Like people will watch them, you know, they'll search on YouTube. I'll search on YouTube. How do I cook the perfect rice? And then I will YouTube that because I want to learn how to cook the perfect rice. Oh, that's how you do it. So this guy that's working on his clutch and has got in a million pieces and he's like, man, I don't know how to put this back together. And then he searches it, you know, clutches or suspension, whatever it is. And he sees those videos and, you know, we try to put out that kind of content. That's stuff that's unique. And I think not just maybe unique's the wrong word, but it's something that people need and people want. This industry, people are growing. I mean, a certain company right now, I know for a fact in the United States, they have 20,000 side-by-sides on pre-order right now. That's, you know, that's what we're talking about. And when I say pre-order, people have went to a shop, they put money down, they've ordered these vehicles and they're waiting for them to be shipped. So this industry is growing dramatically and it's going to keep growing. And I think, you know, what Nick, you know, what you do a lot, just doing those little clips and different things and bringing people in and being sincere. I think that's what makes Chupacabra different from other companies, because we do have two sides. You do have the product side, and you do have the, we try to put out the quality product, but then you have the social side, so people can actually see that, Nick Olson, CEO of Chupacabra, is not just some dude that's, sitting behind a desk and doesn't do anything. They actually know, and they're like, oh, hey, I know you. I seen you on the videos. Okay, cool. This type of thing. So I don't know. I think for Chupacabra, I might just be tooting our own horn, but I think we're putting out the good stuff, the stuff that people want, the sincere stuff. And it's not about the numbers. Yeah. Do we want more numbers? Yeah, of course. But it's growing. I mean, remember when we launched you launched the Instagram page, and it's like, I would check it like every 3 days just to see, I can remember, oh man, you're sitting at 1,800 followers. Like, wow. Like,
yeah, it goes back to obsessing over the word value. Like there's value in teaching somebody how to repair their vehicle, and there's value, in Instagram posts. I think each Instagram post, we go back and forth all the time with Haley and I, and Haley's part of the content team, of course, and she, we want it to be pretty. We want the feed to look pretty. Like you see a lot of brands like Baja Designs comes to mind. Their feed just has a lot of beautiful vehicles showcasing their products. And it's a great, flyer or pamphlet of their brand, a snapshot, if you will.
Yeah.
Where we've done a lot of stuff that has kind of, it becomes a forum post. Hey, did you see this? And it's creating a conversation. So, I have to confess, I was a bit of a forum nerd before I got heavy into social, razorforums.net. And I still go on Glamis Tunes. I still check out what people are saying on a couple of the forums. But there's a lot of value in those, whether it's repair or like, hey, where'd you buy this? And I think I had some of that approach putting it on IG. And the feed doesn't look pretty, but, sometimes our sport doesn't look pretty. I love some of these other pages, like we were just talking about, some pages that do a good job. Off the Grid Expeditions comes to mind to me. They are a Baja tour company, but if you look on their Instagram feed, the cars are dirty, they're loaded down. That's real life when you're in Baja, right? That's what it looks like. They post some cool photos of some beautiful spots I've never been to. It just makes you want to go on a Baja trip. And you can tell it's really authentic to off-roading.
Yeah,
that just kind of comes to mind. That's what I think of what we try to do. And we try to balance between beautiful content, because I love, in a perfect world, if we had the budget and the time, we would make every video like our 2021 Glamis New Year's video, with talented videographers and have that much effort to go into it. But, I think it's really important to just be consistent with the content. And that comes down to just some days just me and the GoPro in the garage, and, our team, Haley and I were editing it up, and we're moving to keep that content consistent to just kind of build these numbers up over time. And, as soon as you let off the gas and don't post a YouTube video, people from the subscribers stop and everything stops.
Absolutely. And the cool thing is it's Chupacabra off-road. So it doesn't always have to be, out riding or out getting your car muddy or things like that. Like, recently you posted those pictures of doing a 2,000 mile, service on your Turbo S. Amazing video. Like, even me, who I know how to do that stuff, I watched it because I want to see how you did it and how, if there's something that I didn't know. And I
can see the behind the scenes when I over torqued one of my bolts on my brake caliper and just blew the bolt in half with my Milwaukee. That didn't make the final edit.
No. Is that why you have no front brakes? No, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's really cool because a lot of companies get stuck in one realm, like imagine if you got stuck just posting pictures of mirrors and door bags and other products that you make, and that's it. And nothing else. And you had to create content just for that. But people need to understand that Chupacabra Off-Road is about the lifestyle. The products are amazing. Yeah, we're trying to put out the greatest products. We want to make sales, and we want to make sure that they're quality and that the people are happy with like price points, and all those types of things are very, very important. But the cool thing is we're just normal guys, man. Like we go riding, we go get our cars dirty. I mean, I know you guys can see in the background if you're watching the video, like how beautiful that car is. I guarantee if I showed you a picture of it right now in my garage, you'd be like, man, that thing's not even that clean, because it's dirty. Like I bring it back after a ride, and time to clean it, we blow it off with the blower, and wait for the next one and maybe wipe the seats off. But so we're not prima donnas. We're not just dune queens. You know, we do love the dunes. I mean, there is no other place like Glamis, and I really get into that. But we put miles and miles on our cars off-road in the dirt, Mexico, everywhere. And that's what's cool about Chupacabra. If everybody's noticed that, is that's what we try to do. We try to be, you know, about that life.
Yeah. And that reminds me, you know, I did a YouTube series chronicling building my race car, you know, and posted photos of the race car a bunch of times, right? Dozens of times. Well, one of the posts that did extremely well was the first time we finally raced it. It was after our first day of racing. You were there, Rage at the River. And we posted a photo after the race. The car was just all hammered with dirt on the front of it. But I remember that post got a ton of likes, you know, because it was like, yeah, I think people were like, yeah, congrats, you guys finally did this, right? You're like,
Right.
not just these YouTube nerds. Like you really
Absolutely.
did it, you know, and we didn't do well, but we did it, and you know, we're trying to get better at it, that type of thing, and I think that type of stuff is cool, and I think it resonates more with the real audience, and that's why it goes back to the numbers not really being that important, because I'd met a couple of people who'd watched some of the build series of the race car, and those numbers aren't big videos by any means, but the people that watch those, I've met a few of you guys, like you guys are like diehards, like you guys are like, you know, I don't know if anyone's really documented a race UTV or even an off-road race vehicle from a frame all the way up, like we did. And you know, it's just I'm trying to put out what I would like to see, you know, like be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah, but if I was that guy, if I was building a race car and I watched your videos all the way through, it would help me tremendously, you know, to see things. Whether or not I followed the same path or did the same things, it does help. And I think that's what brings the bang for the buck.
Yeah. I mean, just things you can do to try to add value on each post and each video. And honestly, man, you know, it's funny is like, if I had tips, if I could explain this to another brand, or if you're just trying to create your own personal brand, whether you're a racer or an influencer, you have to be so passionate about it. And I think a lot of these decisions I make for content are like so passion driven that they're not driven in hard ROI numbers of what is the expenditure of this Glamis video going to do for overall sales. I can't tell you what that is exactly, but for me, maybe it's in most of my life being in the corporate world and like having this creative side. I love the creative side of trying to put out content and putting it out there. I love it, man. It's like, I'd never really played a musical instrument growing up or did anything creative. I wasn't like artistic or whatever, but there's something about shooting videos that I really dig. And I'm not saying that I don't get burnout or I could do it all the time, but it might be some of the highlights of my year is like going to shoot, you know, the video we did with Nate and my wife asked me that. She's like, well, what's the best part of the gig? Like, you know, that's a lot more alluring and exciting than putting mirrors in boxes and dealing with customer service issues and that type of stuff. It's super fun. And it's fun to be creative and try to do it in the most authentic way possible. Like, I want our brand to be as authentic as anybody who's in off-road, period, end of story.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the best word, passion, about it. You know, it's like, there is this passion that everybody within off-road, the passion that gets you up, you know, after working 5 days and then getting up early on a Saturday to drive out and take your family riding, or to, you know, spend all your hard-earned money to go on a vacation where it's all about riding, or, you know, and then talking about the content. Like, I can't lie. Like, after the time we've spent the last few months and the Glamis video and other shoots that we've done, like, I got that bug now. Like, I'm thinking like, I need to start documenting more stuff, you know, like, I'm just this guy that rides sometimes in a race car and goes to the races sometimes for trophy trucks, nothing important. But if I could follow somebody like that was just documenting that type of stuff and posting it on YouTube, man, that'd be amazing. Like, you know, be like, oh, cool. What's, you know, even if you didn't like them, a lot of times most of your good followers are your haters because they want to see what you're doing. But no, I mean, the passion has to be there, exactly like you said, Nick. And that's the coolest thing, is watching it grow. It's kind of like a little kid. You watch it grow and stuff, and having the passion, and you just come up with these ideas. I'm sure I come up with ideas. Like, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and be like, oh man, that would be a cool idea, or this would be a cool idea. And I'm sure you do the same thing. Like, a lot of smart people say, keep a notebook next to your bed so that when you have these ideas or these dreams, you can write them down, because you'll forget them. But yeah, the passion's definitely there. I can speak for Nick. Everybody, this dude is a hustler, man. He's a go-getter, and he wants, you know, it's not about money, and it's not about, like the products and things like that, just making sales. It's about making sure you have great products and making sure that you have great content to watch, and making sure that, that teal symbol, that chupacabra symbol that you see everywhere, is something that represents something good and positive. That's what's cool.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the kind words. And, getting back to just creating content and the energy, I mean, it's almost like two careers at once, from running a products
Right.
business and then doing the content. But, the harsh reality in the marketplace is that you have to build leverage for your brand.
Absolutely.
I have a lot of relationships in power sports. I've been in it for quite a while. These people who were friends and all that, they're not going to propel my business to the next level. For sure, relationships help, but let's say, my goal is to get a lot of these products in dealerships, right? And with some help with some friends, I'm already there, and making some momentum, building some sales on that channel. But, the reality is they're not going to make those mirrors go off the shelf, right? Like, I've got to
No.
help drive retail from our end, building the coolness of the brand awareness, making sure we're reiterating the quality and the value and how our products stack up in the marketplace against our competitors. Because, at the end of the day, one of my good buddies, Jim Herkman, taught me nothing happens till somebody sells something,
Yeah.
and when you are a brand, all these brands have to sell products to keep the lights on. And like Wes has commented, with the explosion of the industry, so has been the explosion of companies. And sometimes I just look at the sea of
Crazy.
competing products that we're competing against, and it's like, wow, how do people even know we have products, and why do people even buy ours? It's almost
Yeah.
overwhelming at times when you see the competitive landscape, if you pay close attention to it like we do.
Yeah, and I guess you just have to chalk that up to what it represents. I mean, I've said it before. I think the logo pops out like no other. I think people really enjoy it. The colors, everything is just rock solid. But you're right. I mean, people, you could put your stuff inside a store all day long, and it doesn't mean people are just going to go buy it. You gotta have something that drives them to want to purchase yours over the other 50 different things that they can purchase. For instance, I have a colleague that I didn't even know he bought the products, and he bought them, and he's like, man, I broke my glass and this and that, whatever. And I'm like, well, hey man, find out your order number. I'll get you a new piece of glass. He's like, what? And he's like, man, I just love that company. Like, he's like, it just seems like everything's so simple and so easy. And, and I was like, well, how did you break it? And he's like, well, it was kind of stupid. It was a deluxe mirror. And he's like, I was climbing in my car, and I hit it with my head, and it bounced up and hit his cage and put a little crack in it. And I'm like, oh, so it deserved it. He's like, oh yeah. He's like, I thought I was going to snap it in half. That's how hard I hit it. I guess he had a big gash in his head. But for him just to say, like, man, that company's just amazing. I love that company. I'm just like, bro, that's pretty cool to hear, because I see this guy once every 4 or 5 months, and I didn't even know that he had even purchased that stuff, but he had, because he had seen me wearing the logo, and he'd heard me mentioning what it was and things like that. And he went and took it upon himself to start following it and start doing it, which I think that's the most beneficial thing, obviously for you probably too, seeing people supporting your products and enjoying the content and vice versa.
Yeah. No, that's a cool story. The contents is easy to get really excited and passionate about. And what I'm really excited to show all of you guys, listeners, but we also want to make sure we're delivering as much value as we can on the product side. And we've been working on these products, like, it sounds dumb, but we've been working on this side mirror. I had the original idea, man, like over a year and a half ago. It sounds ridiculously long to develop, but I really am excited to deliver the value prop on the product side now, because I think we've kind of reached a point where I think I know exactly what it takes to deliver value from a content side, and keep it moving and keep trying.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
man, like, the product is the 1-2 punch, like I talked about with Fox, right? Like, you had good products and a brand that made sense, and you could tell they were core to the lifestyle. I think that's just a really good blueprint that I'm taking from 20 years ago. And I can't wait to show you guys these products, man. Like, we've really thought about a lot of things. I have, and got some great ideas from our engineering team. And like, just, that's the thing. You need some cohesiveness, and then testing, and then talking, and then going back to the drawing board, and then being crushed because this is all taking way longer than I thought. I thought they would have been live by now, but I'm really hoping to get a good reaction, and I think we will. And it's going to really change what people even think about our product side. And it's going to really level up because we started at a value price point and reached a bigger group of audience of customers, that are buying on the lower end. And then now we're scaling up into the higher end, higher price point stuff, which I think is going to work really well for us, because if you look at our content, like all of our cars, I mean, you look at your car, it's Gucci, and
Yeah.
we obviously have a lot of nice stuff. We use it. We know what's up. We race. We appeal to that customer. Like I did some videos about the Speed UTV. I started doing the video just because it seemed like a cool car. I talked myself into buying one via those videos, but that Speed customer is a guy like us. They've been in the game for a while. They're like, oh, I like this car because it already has boom, boom, boom. And I can see the value prop of what I'm getting for my money. And, that's the type of customer I think that we are connecting with very well on content. And we haven't reached them as much as we want because we haven't put out the products that they want to see yet with the product side. But, we're working on, we got some exciting stuff. And I guess I'm telling you this now, but I have some cool new stuff for your car to have you try out here on our ride in May.
Well, I'm always excited to try out the new stuff. I'm very fortunate to get to try out all the new stuff and to do some R&D and make sure, because we do a lot of R&D on those things, and make sure that once they go to the market and they go out to you guys, that they're there and they're ready to be rocking and being able to be strong enough and everything that is required in the off-road industry. But yeah, man, it's exciting. Like you said, creating the products is a big part of Chupacabra, and, having a great team behind you, and, and people outside the box, like you don't necessarily always have to have people within the industry to help you out, because they might have things and ideas that you don't. But yeah, I think you got a great team of designers and engineers that have helped out and, taken your vision.
Yeah. And tying products back to content, with, getting those out there. We do a lot of Facebook ads, trying to drive traffic and brand awareness, and the type of content that we're going to be making for these products. And then I'm going to be getting a little bit on my Steve Jobs with my little talk of going through the whole gamut of all of these products, and just to let the customers know, and try to build that value in the product, in the content. Hey, we thought about this. Hey, we had a race car with window nets and we thought about this. Hey, did you ever think about this? Hey, here's our personal experience.
Right.
Because, a lot of people see the content and we're having fun. We're, high fives in the dunes and we're screwing off with drones and stuff. But really the goal hopefully is to use all of those experiences, your friends that race and run our products, get that feedback and put it into the product, right? Because otherwise we're just, we're not trying to show off that we're out there having a good time. It's part of the lifestyle we get to enjoy. But using those experiences, a lot of those big rides, we tend to learn a lot, or in different environments like rock crawling, stuff that we don't normally do. You learn so much and you can kind of relate to a bigger part of the audience versus just one thing, and then put that into the product and then convey that with the content and try to make it easy to understand, so that when people see it, they're like, okay, I understand that. I've walked through it, and the content is just has told the story that we've been documenting our learnings and our trips, so that we're trying to put all that energy and then, get the feedback and ideas. And like, you have such a good, little sonar, and some of our friends that ride and that have good ideas just to add to it, and things that I don't think of. And that's part of the team that really makes it all come together.
Yeah. And I mean, being humble enough as a business owner to take advice from other people and recommendations, because a lot of times, business owners don't have that, and if you're creating your own brand and you're out there trying to create something or sell something or content or whatever you're trying to do with your own brand, here first, you got to be able to let other people make suggestions, let other people help you along the way. If you're not willing to take that little bit of help from, friends and colleagues and things like that, it's going to affect you in the long run, and sometimes that's the hardest thing to do, is to let go a little bit and give other people the opportunity to give their input. But in the long run, it really helps out. I'm not a know-all or anything like that, but I'm aware of the off-road industry and aware of different things. And there's things that you catch, Nick, that I don't even think about, and I'm like, holy cow, that's a great idea. And I think that the whole team, and make sure that when you are building your brand, when you are building content, when you are doing any of this, you got to have great support behind you, whether it's family that's, just there being family, or whether it's friends or people you've hired or whatever the case might be, just make sure that those are the right people to help you.
No doubt, no doubt. I get excited about going to areas where a lot of the people are out, out and about, and really that kind of boils down to the sand show
Yeah.
and or Glamis big holiday weekends, because that's where you kind of have a big group of people in our industry where there's time to just go say what's up and say hi and
Yeah.
chat and all that. So I hope that that's the feedback, those interactions are really good in terms of people's response to either the videos or the products. I think it's gonna be fun to keep growing this business and adding more products.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of categories that we can expand to beyond what we're doing right now. I think even our current categories, we can have some different price points and add some more products. And that just took a little while to figure out, and throughout the whole time, it's been a learning process with the content, and the content's taught us, a lot of things, like you said, like listening to other people who are more talented than I and trying different ideas. I think that's another thing. If you're putting content out there,
right,
no one knows what's going to hit. That's a point I really wanted to make. Some of my favorite pieces of content, Wes, don't have that many views. There's that suspension video I did January of last year with Wayne Israelson. It might be my favorite YouTube video. I love doing the suspension testing with Wayne. He's a god. He's a super cool guy to work with. He's a god in the suspension world. And it was just a fun day. And I really thought that the guy I had at the time, he used the right music and the vibe. And man, I just felt like it was so core, but I don't think the video even has 10,000 views. So, that goes back to our earlier conversation of like chasing numbers, wanting to grow, but not using that as our North Star, because the numbers aren't authentic. I can go flip my car 6 times in Glamis and we can get way more views. We can do thirst traps on Instagram and get more views. Like we can do a lot of the buffoonery you see people do, and people are always going to do that. And that's their hustle, I guess. But, that's the part that's hard when you're new, when you're trying to define yourself and try to build that logo up to where someone would want to rep it on a hat or a t-shirt that means something quality to them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's, there's easy ways to get those numbers up. Obviously, a lot of people in the industry do it, and sometimes they're successful and sometimes it works for them. It's just not sincere. I think the majority of the, your really go-getter off-road people, they see it. They see right there. Yeah. Are they following that page? Probably. Are they checking out their videos? Yeah, probably. Everybody wants to see a crash. Everybody wants to see that type of carnage. But at the same time, are they really focusing on that page? Are they really, caring about that product or that company? Probably not. They're probably just there to see, something cool for a millisecond and move on with their life. But, I don't know. I think the way Chupacabra does it, and and the way that we're able to, put out cool stuff that we think is cool, and even if only 5 people think it's cool, those 5 people probably think it's really cool, and yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I think the focus as a whole, I think it's just, starting off, it's only been really about 3 years, like you said, going hardcore. And, if you go back to where we were 3 years ago to where we are now, as far as a company and the awareness of it, it's, it's growing rapidly. So I'm excited, man. I think here in the, next, year or two, you're going to be looking back and maybe we watching this pod or listening to this pod and just being like, holy cow, remember we did that a few years ago, and look at all the changes, look what everything's happened, look how much this did and this and that. Because it's only a matter of time. You got to start somewhere. There's a lot of big Instagram pages. There's a lot of big YouTube pages that people that have, 1 million followers, 1 million subscribers and things like that. They didn't always have that. They didn't always have that. They didn't always just have all those people. They had to work for it. And so as long as it's growing, don't matter the rate it's growing. That's what matters.
The cool thing about content too, Wes, is, I think about it like it's not a zero-sum game. Like people that are really passionate about off-roading, they might watch 4 or 6 YouTube channels and follow hundreds of off-road Instagram accounts, and right. like YouTube's probably the best example. I mean, we're all just like a different flavor of ice cream, like what we believe Chup should be and is, and what is authentic to. That's us, right? We're chocolate chip, right? And then this person is
right.
mint. And sometimes, you like all different flavors if you're an enthusiast of the sport. So that's what's really cool about it.
What flavor of hot sauce is your favorite? I guess that's, there's like 40 million hot sauces. So
You know, it's
Yeah.
it's a little more hippy dippy than in the sales world, where like ultimately our sale comes out of the expense of another brand and all that. But the market's growing so rapidly, there is room for everybody. And I think if you're grinding with your content, if you're trying to grow your business, you know,
Right.
it will benefit your business significantly. And then also you're going to learn a lot about yourself in the marketplace. And that's the best thing about it, is the feedback loop. You get a product comment on a YouTube video about nothing that's even related to it. You get, you know, for us, we're on Amazon. We have our best-selling product on Amazon has over 4,000 reviews. So that's what
Wow.
I love. And that's what, another reason, like in part one of our video, I talked about how I love the transparency of social, that if you're an authentic person, you will win, you will find your audience, people will see it and feel it, you know, through the screen, through the, you know, whatever you're listening to or watching this. And if you're not, then maybe you're afraid to put the content out there if you're not
Right.
authentic, or if you are, people will sniff you out. You know, I love
Right.
that. And I think it's just it's an amazing time where you can project, you know, what you want to put yourself out there, and get your brand out there, and craft something how you want, your own way. And there's a fan for everybody.
Absolutely. I mean, you said it right there. I mean, it's it's hard to be perfect in this game. You know, it's hard to be perfect all the time in this game when it comes to sales or when it comes to your social and things like that. But I agree with you. You know, I mean, sky's the limit, I think. And I had this grin on my face, but you know, I just know what's being built here. And, you know, like if we're giving advice to other people, or if you're giving advice to other people, it's kind of similar. Like you have your choice. Like you want it, you know, humans always want things now, you know, it's just our culture. I mean, we live in a culture where you can get almost anything overnight. You know, back in the day, I remember you take 7 days and, you know, to get things, and you can get stuff overnight nowadays, and people are just more and more impatient. We live in this fast paced world, and I don't know. I mean, it's it's going to be interesting, I think.
Final point I wanted to make, or tip, you know, if you want to get into content creation, or you listen to this like from a brand's perspective of what we look for. I think we kind of talked about more of that in the first pod, but you know, the main reason why people might not want to put content out there is because of negative energy or haters. And I would like to say that I anticipated a lot more hate, a lot more haters than I've received so far. There's definitely been a couple of them. And, you know, if you want to get into the off-road space, that this is me giving you your safety net to be a little bit more free, because hey, the haters in off-road, they're pretty soft. Like I thought you guys were going to come with a lot more heat. I was ready for it. I love some good ball busting, especially with YouTube comments. And you know, the community, I think, is really good. They appreciate,
You
I think, the value it takes to put in to make a video. And they've been gone pretty easy on me. I don't know if you've seen any comments and stuff, but man, you guys are a little bit softer than I thought you'd be.
Yeah, it sounds like you're poking the bear here. I guess they could be pretty rough on us. I mean, but hopefully not. But that, I mean, that shows, you know, you're going to get that no matter what. I mean, but the cool thing is, yeah, they hated and they made a comment on your YouTube page, but guess what? They watched it.
Yeah, and how
You
much
know
did
what I'm
that YouTube
saying?
video cost them to watch it?
Yeah,
Wasn't it
exactly.
like free?
Yeah, it was like, yeah, I think it was free that day actually to watch it. Yeah. So,
Real
but
quick,
yeah,
I
I
was
mean,
telling you too, speaking of our Glamis 2021 video, in the video, a couple times they say, we're trying to make the best Glamis video ever. We're trying to make the best. And I was telling you, I think we got 3 or 4 comments where like, dude, I would have liked this video more if you would have just not tell me it was the best. You know, and it's funny because it's like my
don't choose
passion
for me.
speaking, and it's like there's no such thing as what is the best video versus another, even though ours is literally the best. I pay very close attention to the what's going on out there, and there isn't anything that compares to that. Let's just be truthful. And honestly too,
Yep.
that, you know, to get all passionate, I'm getting all wound up. What else are we here for? We're out here to put out the best. Like
Yeah,
we want to add to the culture with the
exactly.
content and the products. Like the
Yeah.
best is an arguable never, you know, there'll never be an answer, especially in 2021 with the amount of
No.
bickering on social. But like, what is a great product at that price, you know, compared to it in the marketplace? And what is a great piece of content? And content doesn't necessarily compare to another piece of content, because you could like it, like I said, at all different flavors of ice cream. So,
Yep.
you know, I'm
Yep.
passionate. I might start slipping more and talk more about the best this, the best that, but I'm not waking up every day here to just make stuff to make a dollar.
Yeah, but the thing of it is, it's not an advertisement. I mean, you're not, you know, you're not just saying that it's the best because, you know, that helps you. I mean, you're saying it's the best because you know what it took. financially, time, energy, the amount of people, everything that it took, the fact that, other videographers and other people out there filming those videos, I guarantee they watch that video and they say, oh man, that's a sick shot. That's a sick shot. That's a sick shot. So I would assume that the majority of the people, if they said, oh, it wasn't the best, I've seen better, they don't really understand. They don't really
They
understand
just
how to
don't
get
have
all
good
those
taste
shots.
if that's what their
And,
opinion.
well,
I think some people weren't born with great taste. That's
their eyes haven't been opened. If they were to follow us around and they were to watch what we did to get all those different shots and the different cameras, and the amount of information that was taken, then they would, guess what? They would say that is the best video, because then they could see it. And it's hard to get that.
if they
off
hung
of
out
a
with
video.
Nate and watched the mastermind work.
I guess we could do, next time we'll have somebody film Nate the entire time and then do the video, and then we'll do, this is how the video was made, and this have one guy filming, our filmer the entire time, because then they'll be like, oh wow, that's a lot of work. Oh man, a lot of respect for that. Oh, that's how they got that shot or whatever. And so, haters are going to be there. They're always going to be there no matter what. There's always going to be somebody trying to bring you down, in whatever you're doing. It doesn't matter if it's business or your life or personal life or whatever. It doesn't matter. But the thing of it is like, yeah, you got to have thick skin, especially in this industry. Poor Robbie Gordon's had a rough, he's had a rough go the last few months. And, there's other people in the industry also that, they have a rough go. But
I'm glad you brought up Robbie, because that's a great example of someone who believes in content and Speed. Speed wasn't built only on social for being 100% authentic. Robbie's, experience and his reputation has sold some of the first cars. But you guys have seen, I'm sure, Speed's got more hype than anything on the internet, in UTV, even guys weeding up over the glamorous jumps and stuff like that. And I think he sells cars every single time he gets on a live pod. I think he does a tremendous job. Their content, you can see, like, it's GoPro, it's shaky, it's not edited, and it's just raw and it's out there, and people love it. I love it, and yeah, he's taking a lot of heat because the car is a lot later than they promised. But he almost is like, bring it on in those pods. He's like, what, are people talking crap tonight? He's doing his pod.
Yeah.
I love that, man, because like, he can dish it out, so he can take it as well. But that's just a great example. Like, it's super contemporary. Just in the last year, he's built that brand with the content. He sold so many. He's got to have sold 5 times the amount of cars with the addition of the content. So if that isn't proof in the pudding that with content you can sell a 35, 40K vehicle, I don't know what is.
And don't get it wrong. If you guys think for 1 second that Robbie's putting out content to inform you about the car, Robbie does content because he knows that that's what's going to help sell his car. He's smart. He's not an idiot. And he's smart as an engineer. He's smart as a car builder. He's smart all the way around. And he knew what it was going to take. And for him to put it out there, because he didn't have to. When's the last time you saw the CEO of Polaris or Can-Am, do the unveil of their car and be like, oh, here's this and this and this, and this is what we built? And never. And they're not going to do that, because they're not going to put themselves out there. Maybe they don't need to, because they actually have the car in person and they can actually show you that it's built and that it's done. There's someone.
Here we go.
No offense, Robbie, if you listen to this, but it's the things that I've seen are amazing. You're making leaps and bounds steps over a lot of other things, but hey, man,
he's taught a lot of people with the content too. I think I enjoy watching the videos. Sorry to cut you off. I enjoy the videos just with the learnings of him talking about his lessons and talking about geometry and having some higher level conversations. It's just interesting because we're all going to the same point, right? Can-Am and Polaris, everyone's going to keep stepping their game up, and the Speed hopefully forces them to do that. Whether you love or hate Robbie or love or hate the car, it doesn't matter. This car coming out puts, pressure on everybody else. Maybe, Honda steps it up. Maybe Cowie. Maybe everybody does. Like, they're going to have to fight over our dollars, and we all win. We all get better vehicles at lower prices, higher feature benefit, higher quality, better geometry. And the cars are just going to keep leveling up. And, man, it's such an amazing time in the sport.
He doesn't know the amount of pressure that's on him, because, once that car starts getting mass produced, and if it starts having little issues and things like that, then –
which it will. Every car does have issues.
Yeah, but, it's just going to pause.
I think.
That hype that you're talking about, that even me, I want it to do good, because I want it to push the bigger manufacturers to do better and to do more and more and more and keep pushing the envelope. Because, as you know, Can-Am and Polaris have things in their back pocket that they're probably not even planning to release for years and years and years because they don't have to, because
Right.
the market shows them that they don't have to. Now, if a company like Speed comes in and says, oh yeah, you have to, that's what I want to see. However, if it comes out and it's a flop or whatever, something major, which I hope it doesn't, but if that does happen, all it's going to do is make Polaris and Can-Am like have a little smirk and giggle and keep those things in their back pocket that we as consumers want, but we don't even know what they are. But we know once they get released, I mean, we want them because you know that they have stuff planned for years and years in advance with these things. It's not just like, oh, well, we built our 2022s and, you know, that's it. You know, now we got to go back to the drawing board and come up with something cool. You know, it's not like that. They have the things ready to release. It's just a matter of they have to push them if it makes financial sense, which is really sad because Robbie is doing a good job of building a car that is going to have a lot of those advancements already.
The anti-corporate car,
but he has
the
to.
people, not
But he
the
has
bean
to.
counters.
Because if he showed up with a, you know, off the assembly line like Can-Am or Polaris off the assembly line like that, people wouldn't buy it. They would go automatically. They go for a Can-Am or Polaris because there's really no reason not to. The trust is there. The Can-Am works, the Polaris works, the Yamaha works, the Honda works. So I think Robbie has to shoot for the stars, which is really cool. And he's got a big following. I mean, obviously his success in racing throughout the world and the things that he's done. And he's a great salesman, man. I'm telling you, if you've ever had a conversation with that guy, go have a conversation with him. I promise you, you will buy a Speed UTV. If you don't own a side-by-side right now, go find Robbie Gordon. You'll buy one.
So we got to wrap this thing up, Wes. And at this point,
All
there's
right.
probably only 3 people listening anyway, but we'll drop some exclusive news. The exclusive news is not that exclusive, is that I'm getting a Speed UTV. That's been documented, but I will be getting one of the first ones out there. And I'm not getting it for a deal. I'm spending full retail. And I'm not going to call Wes a Speed hater. I'm going to label Wes a Speed skeptic. So once we get the Speed, you guys better believe we will be doing a plethora of content. But I'll get Wes out to Arizona, or I'll come out to Vegas, and he'll flog it. We'll flog it back to back with one of our turbos, and we'll give you that real raw how she
you
is.
You guys heard it. You heard it here. Flog it. Okay. So, you know, we're gonna make sure
double. Yeah, we'll hit the. I'll jump the swing set double, and you can go jump the canal. How about that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, never mind. I'm not even going to.
I'll bring a life vest. Come on, you can just wear a life vest.
Yeah, exactly. No, so that's exciting. Like I said, I mean, I have given Nick a hard time about that, but you know, it's cool that, you know, you can go and pay retail for it, because guess what? Now you can create content. Now you can show, if this is the greatest car ever, it's going to be the greatest car ever. If it's not, it's not. And that's what's cool about Chupacabra. You know, we're not one brand. Yeah, we own Polarises, and, you know, Nick worked for Polaris, whatever, but it doesn't mean that we aren't aware of all the other brands, and that, you know, we want them all. Like, if I could have a garage full of everything, I would. But so that's the cool thing about Chupacabra, but we'll wait until
that YXZ, of course.
Yeah, you know, no. I mean, I would want a YXZ.
Let's not get out of hand here.
I want one, but I want it like a Packard Performance one where all I can do is do drag racing.
Yeah, just, you know, put $40,000 into it, and it'll be cool, right? Shouldn't everything be cool when you dump 30 or 40K into it?
There's just something about being on the chip at the sand dunes.
I love like all the town guys like, yeah, but if it had a turbo and it had long travel and yeah, everything with 20K looks cool. Even the Razor Pro XP, like someone posted a Pro XP with, you know, method and tensors and long travel and the sick SDR cage, and like the thing looks sick.
Yeah,
as it should. It's like 60K, like, you know what I mean? And I still think it's overpriced off the show.
Those poor 4-seat Talons, man, they can't even drive under the underpasses. Their cages are like 9 feet in the air. It's
I mean, there's such little inventory out there. Things are so bad. People are buying 4-seat Talons out here in the marketplace.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's when you know it's bad.
No, I'm just joking. But
cool. No, we love them all. You know, we're about the life and things like that. And like I said, we would love to have all those different cars. And don't ever think that Chupacabra is a specific brand, because it's not. That's why all our products go on all different types of cars. So we're there for everybody, even the YXZ people.
Yeah.
Sometimes
we just joke because they're the
we just joke because they're like super loud and annoying. I'm just kidding.
Well, good time as usual, man. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you guys enjoy the pod here. We got some more coming soon. We got to figure out our next topic, Wes. I was excited to get these two done and keep it going so we don't fall off the map. So we'll put our heads together. Thank you all for listening again. Check out our website, chupacabraoffroad.com. If you want to check out some of our products and other content, we're everywhere. TikTok, Clubhouse. I'm even on the club right now. Or I don't even think they call that Clubhouse, but TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, the whole deal.
Yeah, absolutely. So check it out, guys. Be nice to us in the comments. Don't take Nick's.
Don't. Let me see some heat. I want to hear some haters.
All right. Well, yeah, hate on Nick because I'll join in there and hate on him too. But no, yeah, appreciate you guys listening and tuning into this. Until the next one, man, I'm excited. So we'll get some good topics going. If you have some topics for us, leave them in the comments.
Yep. Thank you, guys.